Man is a strange creature. All his actions are motivated by desire. His character forged by pain. As much as he may try to suppress that pain, to repress the desire, he cannot free himself from the eternal servitude to his feelings. For as long as the storm rages within him, he cannot find peace. Not in life, not in death. And so he will do what he must, day in, day out. The pain is his vessel, desire his compass. That is all that man is capable of.
This quote was said by Dark's supposedly main villain, Adam, and I think it summarizes perfectly the actions of every character in the show. Dark is a show about time travel where most of the characters travel not for themselves, but for a loved one, only to cause pain for themselves and their loved one. Don't believe me? Let's recap.
3, 2, 1, go!
Jonas travels to save Minnie, his father, and Martha, only to be cause of their deaths indirectly. Martha travels to save Jonas, only for same thing to happen and he dies. Claudia travels to save her daughter, but time travel is stronger than cancer, so she orders her death to end her pain. Ulrich travels to save Mikkel, only to save him, and only not to save him, and be the cause of everything by trying to murder Helge. Katerina travels to save Ulrich and Mikkel, only for her to die by the hand of her mother. Noah travels to see his daughter, who was taken from him as a baby by her future self and future mother, only to cause misery and countless other children to be taken from their families and die. Mikkel and Helge were manipulated to travel because the people who manipulated them wanted to save a person. And Hannah, Satan can have a loved one, so she traveled just to be a bitch. See my point? And you would think that these characters would be good-natured, right? Someone who wants to save his child wouldn't kill another child to save his own, right? No. But in the end, we all get what we deserve. Ulrich got what he deserved, Noah got what he deserved, Hannah got what she deserved. The show is filled with morally great characters, but even though they may be horrible human beings, that doesn't mean they are not written brilliantly, and this really appears perfectly in the character Noah. Noah is great. He's a big hypocrite, because the reason for everything he's doing is that his child got kidnapped and he's trying to find her, so he goes around and kidnap other children and experiment on them and kills them, because he saw these experiments as a necessary step toward the greater good, towards escaping the cycle of suffering. No victory is ever won without sacrifice. He's a hypocrite because even though he's a priest and tells so many people just believe in God because he has a plan for everyone, even though he himself does not believe in God, and says there is no plan for everyone, just pain and suffering. People are bad, malicious, and evil. Life is nothing but a spiral of pain, and the world is doomed to be destroyed. But this here is the ark, and I am Noah. He thought that he was in control and he really would be the one to end all the suffering, but he was the one being controlled by Adam, fate, and time. Most people are nothing but pawns on a chessboard led by an unknown hand. And the line is ironic because he thinks that he is the unknown hand, he is a god. But no, he's just another pawn on the chessboard. And unfortunately, he realizes this too late. After he finds out Adam was using him, he decides on killing him. But before it, he goes to see his daughter, Charlotte, now all grown up, only for her to look at him as a monster, as a kidnapper, and as a killer, which of course breaks his heart, with him stating that he will stop the cycle of suffering once and for all, by of course killing the source, Adam. But unfortunately, fate is too cruel, as Adam can die now. It was not his time to die yet, and fate can be defied by man. But unfortunately, it was Noah's time to die. So for some fucking stupid reason, I thought that Eve's name was Eva in the entire video, so if it feels unnatural or the way I put it in, it's because I'm fucking stupid. Her name is Eve. Eve, not fucking Eva. Dark is filled with these great and poetic scenarios where a character tries to defy fate, only for him to fail, with a big example being what the characters want to turn into versus what they turn into. Jonas, who's later revealed to be Adam, when he was young, he tells Adam he will never turn to be like him, especially when Adam kills Martha, only to see him slowly become Adam. Martha, who also witnessed the death of her lover Jonas, says she will set things right and will never turn to the monster that is Eva, only for her to turn to Eva. Ulrich wanted to become a cop because he saw Aegon's incompetence and actually help people, only to cause all of this and do the same thing, and not save neither his son or Mads. And ironically enough, both Aegon and Ulrich cheat on their wives with the same person, which causes distrust between the family. Their experiences made them what they are now. They grew up and changed. But the opposite can happen, like with Noah, regretting what he turns into and trying to tell young Noah indirectly not to do what he did, but in the end he followed his steps. And like they say, it is a loop. Everything repeats, even between generations. Ulrich cheating like how Tronte, Ulrich's father, cheated on his wife. Aegon getting cancer, just like Regina, his granddaughter, who also gets cancer. And other parallels that I'm sure that I have not catched because the show is filled with secrets that can be only discovered with countless rewatches. Shit like the calendar being different in two scenes, which means that the timeline has shifted in one of these because the dates should be the same. Or the myth that Bartosz tells Martha in season 2 about the lady who died in the lake, which is insignificant to the plot, only to later be revealed in season 3 to be a time-traveling Katrina, who were killed there in the past by her mother. And like how the necklace was in the sand, and like damn, even just a small stupid question was answered in the end. And I really respect the show for that. There is a balance between answering old questions and raising new ones, with the exception of season 3, which almost had no answer in the beginning of it, but that was because it was meant to be confusing so that you are in the same shoes as the characters. And the balls of the writers to pitch a show like this, I think it's a miracle that this got greenlit at all. Whoever pitched it must be great at using words. I said at the beginning of the video the show can be explained if you didn't see it. So imagine how did they explain it before anybody can see it. Just a single look at the family tree can make you question the meaning of life. Dark solves the question of old ages, how to give birth to your own mother. But to be real, it's all explained greatly in the show. Just pay attention, please, and everything will be okay. Another thing that I respect is that every character has a role, and nobody is useless. Everyone is important to the plot, and when you think that they have disappeared from the story, they come back again and become important. You think they will appear only this time, then boom, major character again. You think that Martha is just a useless love interest, then boom, important character with deep philosophical motives. You think that Bartosz is only relevant in the beginning of season 1, then boom, turns out he gave birth to Agnes and Noah, and that he was the guy Noah killed in the beginning of season 2, which makes what he says make more sense when he says something like it's kinda ironic that Noah is killing him. You think Hannah is just a bitch, and then boom, an important bitch. If I have to point out one character I don't necessarily adore, it is the unknown. But I acknowledge his importance as his victims were important for the future to happen, like killing Doubler because he has a key to the nuclear power plant. They threaten the mayor to sign the permit to build the nuclear power plant and then kill him. All of this to cause the apocalypse, all according to Eva's plan, so that the cycle can continue and never end. Never take the show at face value, cause the producers don't, and it shows in their incredible attention to details and the amazing effort that was put in the casting. There is no actor that does not look typical to his younger or older counterpart. Even the damn children can act. Like, imagine looking for children that resemble the old actors and they all can act greatly. And then we go on to talk about the time travel. I also think that time travel is great in Dark. It was confusing but consistent. The way it works is that you can only travel 33 years forward or backwards, with the idea that the past, present, and future all happen at the same time and are connected. So if a day passes in the present, a day passes in the past, and vice versa. It all happens at the same time. Time never stops. It's always moving. And this is the first step to understanding the rules. The second most important rule is that you cannot change the past or the future, as it is all predestined, because you can change fate, and fate has accounted for the existence of time travel. So some things are destined to happen because of time travel. So you really can change fate by traveling to the past, which leads me to a discussion I want to have about Adam and Eva and their philosophies and their ideologies. And are any of them in the bad, or is it, as Mikhail say, good and evil are a question of perspective? On one side of the coin, you have Adam. He thinks the world has suffered enough with the never-ending loops and cycle, and he's trying to destroy both worlds, his and Eva's, so that the suffering stop by making the apocalypse happen, no matter what. And later he thinks that the best way is by killing the origin, Jonas and Martha's child. With killing him, most of the characters won't exist, and neither the suffering. He would even go later on to kill his mother, so that everything goes as planned. and of course, later goes on to kill Martha. So, on this side, we have someone whose way of dealing with the cycle of suffering is making the worlds stop existing, so that the cycle stop and the pain too. But on the other side of the coin, we have Eva, who are from a different dimension from Adam, and she thinks the best way to deal with all of this suffering is to live with it, not opposing fate and accepting what happens. She wants everything to stay the same and not change, because there's no point in changing the impossible, and most importantly, so that her son can cease to exist. The origin. Everything she does is to ensure that her son gets born. She does exactly what Adam does. She also kills her lover Jonas. Both of them think that time is a cage, but they deal with it differently. One opposes time and the other just lives with it. And the victim of all of this are young Jonas and young Martha, who gets manipulated left and right from both sides. And then we have a third side that you didn't think of. The middle of the coin, if we can say so. Claudia, the one trying to find a way to make time traveling not exist. A world without pain. Claudia is one of the few characters that resembles a hero. She does terrible things, but less terrible from the two other counterparts. She finds a way to make the two timelines not exist. The loophole, or the origin, if you can say so. Tannhaus, the clockmaker who made the time machine and wrote the book A Journey Through Time, is the cause of all of this. Before all of this happened, there was only one timeline, and in it there was no glimpse of time travel. Well, until Tannhaus' family, his son and his son's wife and granddaughter, all died in a car crash. And after receiving this information, he was so desperate, and he tried to find a way to make a time machine to stop this from happening, which unfortunately didn't go as planned. This supposedly time machine created two new timelines, Adam's and Eva's. Claudia discovers all of that and tells Adam that the only way to destroy the two worlds is to go to the ocean. So he sends young Jonas to save young Martha and go together to end all of it. But before they go to the original timeline, they find themselves in a strange place between time, where they see an old memory, if you can say so, where child Jonas saw young Martha and child Martha saw young Jonas. It was not a hallucination, just a memory buried deep inside of them both. They realized that despite it all, they were always meant for each other. But sadly, this moment could not last, as they had a mission. Meanwhile, as an amazing barrel, Adam goes to Eva, and Eva thinks that she won, as Adam is pointing a gun at her, continuing the cycle and proving her right. The gun clicks, but she is still alive. There were no bullets inside. Eva is shocked while Adam explains his plan, and they both just share a moment. A thing that they have not done since they were young. Just together, no mind games or anything. Both has accepted their fate. Meanwhile, in the original timeline, the son gets in an argument with Tannhaus, thinking that he only cares about his inventions and theories in the shop. So he leaves as fate intended. To stop the accident, Jonas and Martha just stand in front of the car, just telling the son the bridge is closed, and strangely enough, that his father loves him and cares about him. A really strange situation to be in a rainy dark night. They go back to his father confused but somehow relieved. Tannhaus happy to see that they came to stay the night with them. The son sings that he saw angels and he goes on to spend the night with his father, showing a more softer side to him. Their success in the mission, of course, came with the cost of their worlds existing, and now everything is disappearing.
Dass irgendetwas von uns bleibt. Ist das, was wir dann sind? Traum. Das nie wirklich gegeben. Weiß es nicht. Wir passen perfekt zusammen. Ich glaub nie etwas anderes.
And do you know what is really ironic? Tannhaus actually succeeded in saving his son. Without the time machine, there would be no parallel universe, and no parallel universe mean no Martha and Jonas to come save his son and his family. We cut to a gathering. It is the survivors from the original world. Katrina, Peter, and Bernadette, who are together now. Regina, who's on good terms with Katrina now. And finally, Waller and Hannah, who are together and have a baby. And of course, the creators keep teasing the most important question, which is what happened to Waller's eyes, and just before he said it, the light goes out, these cheeky ass bastards. But Hannah, she feels a strange feeling, a feeling of deja vu. They ask her what she will name the baby, and she says,
Ich glaube, ich finde Jonas einen schönen Namen.
and it just ends. What does this mean? Well, there's like what you call a glitch in the matrix. Does this mean Jonas and Martha can still exist somehow in the original timeline? Well, we're not supposed to know that, and in my opinion, it should stay this way. An ending so simple for such a complex show, and yet it's still satisfying. It's kinda crazy to think about it. The only way for this show to end happily was for more than half of the cast to not be born or exist in this world. Incest is a really strong theme in the show, and it shows. And I don't think I would have this show in any other way or form or shape. The consistency, the writing, the casting, the soundtrack. Oh my god, I didn't even mention the soundtrack. The soundtrack is amazing. The atmosphere, the ending. I think this show is just near perfect, if not already perfect. It had so many threads to go with. Too many plots, too many ways it could have easily went wrong, but it never did. If you haven't dived deeper into it, please rewatch it, as you will always find new things and it will make so much more sense, believe me. Dark is a top tier sci-fi show and one of the best TV shows, period.